She's got little ears. Okay. Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's Monday. It's Houston. We have a problem. Episode number 447. Wowie zowie. So, Nextbridge Hydrocarbon has filed documents in court seeking information from TradeStation regarding Rule 202, which is basically like, hey, we might have reason to sue you, so we're going to need this information from you because you may have violated all sorts of rules and laws and issued way too many shares in our company. So they're asking for all this data from TradeStation. Fantastic. Now the cat wants to come in. Come on, dummy. You've had all day. Come on. Yeah, there you go. So it's interesting what they're looking for. Let me, I gotta pull up ye old, what's it? Where are you? Gotta go to chats. Gotta go to, this one? There we go. So, yeah, there's that. And then on the other side, on BBBY side, we have language in the credit agreement for the FILO that basically says we get everything if you pay off your 2024 bonds before us. So, very, very interesting language in there for sure. Oh, great. How come that makes these things so freaking tiny? That's what I want. Yes. Okay. So, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do the intro first, and then go to the Who's Your What's It. Right? Right, little dog. Scratchy little dog. Okay. Turn it off because don't let the dog distract me. And boom. So, this is filed in federal court in Dallas. And petitioner Nextbridge Hydrocarbons Incorporated files this verified Rule 202 petition seeking to investigate potential claims or suits and respectfully states. 1. I can't read. Petitioner Nextbridge is a Nevada corporation with its principal place of business in Tarrant County, Texas. 2. Respondent TradeStation Incorporated is a Florida corporation that conducts business in Texas. TradeStation's principal place of business is in Texas, as designated with the Texas Secretary of State is in Dallas County, Texas. TradeStation may be served through its registered agent, Corporate Creations Network, at 5444 Westheimer Suite, 1000, Houston, Texas, 77056. This court has subject matter jurisdiction over this case because the requested relief is within jurisdiction of the court. The court has personal jurisdiction over TradeStation because it conducts business in Texas. Venue is proper in Dallas County, Texas, because TradeStation resides in Dallas County. And then, is this the one I want? Yes. Nextbridge files petition seeking to investigate potential claims relating to an imbalance in the publicly available shares of Nextbridge. Nextbridge is an independent public reporting company engaged in acquisition, exploration, exploitation, and or development of oil and natural gas properties. Nextbridge is an indirect successor of MetaMaterials, a public company trading under the ticker symbol MMAT. On June 24th, 2021, MetaMaterials issued a preferred dividend. That dividend was not intended to be tradable in the public markets. Instead, the intent was that each dividend would be a placeholder for the eventual sale of oil and gas assets or spun out into a separate company. Ultimately, a spin-out occurred and Series A preferred shares were exchanged for Nextbridge shares. For reasons Nextbridge does not understand, in October 2021, the exchange on which shares began trading to allow the dividend Series A preferred shares, that are now Nextbridge shares, to be traded separately from MMAT shares under the ticker symbol MMTLP. On December 8th, 2022, FINRA, self-regulatory organization charged with protecting the public markets, halted trading MMTLP, now Nextbridge stock. It is the status of short positions that existed on the day of the halt that gives rise to this petition. Specifically, TradeStation had customers holding long positions, MMTLP, TradeStation, loan those shares to other brokers whose clients wanted to short MMTLP. Those brokers then provided the shares to their clients who sold them into the market to implement the short position. The net result of those lending transactions and subsequent sales by borrowing brokers' customers is that there are more MMTLP, now Nextbridge shares, in brokerage accounts than there are shares issued and outstanding. This is because while TradeStation's customers who held long positions in the beneficial owners of Nextbridge shares, so are the as yet identified people who bought the shares from the borrowing brokers' customers. In other words, while the brokerage account for every long investor shows both a share and a dividend, so does the account of every long purchaser of short shares, which effectively doubles the share count for every short position. The fact that the significant uncovered short position exists is not suppression. FINRA has publicly stated there are at least 2.65 million short shares held in broker-dealer accounts. Nextbridge believes the actual number may be far greater. Importantly, Nextbridge is not accusing TradeStation wrongdoing, but the synthetic Nextbridge shares held in accounts owned by borrowing brokers' customers give rise to multiple potential claims. First, they create regulatory uncertainty for Nextbridge's public disclosure relating to issued and outstanding shares. Second, they create potential claims for legitimate Nextbridge shareholders whose positions are diluted by the synthetic shares. TradeStation has information relevant to both sets of these claims. Specifically, TradeStation sent its customers correspondence acknowledging that. Basically, they're like, hey, clowns, we caught you. And there we are. So they're demanding this information, and the court's going to require TradeStation to give this information, like who borrowed what, how much did they borrow, and what are you going to do about making sure that they make good on that borrow. Seekastar sent me also a link for the Nextbridge share count survey, which I will copy and paste into the chat. Boom, boom. So this is a survey. You can click it, enter your email address, whatever. And it talks about how many shares were issued as of basically when it got shut down. How many shares should exist today? And then they list how many shares so far of each account at different brokerages. So you can see like Charles Schwab, there's a lot of them. E-Trade, there's a lot of them. Fidelity, there's a lot of them, and so on. And what we have right now is 497 million. Oh, sorry. I read that wrong. 49,724,405 shares listed as this. And we have 6,557 account holders listed. That's 10% of the known number of shareholders. So we're at about half of the float as of December 8th when it got shut down, with only 10% of those with shares reporting. So yeah, and there's actually a problem logging in. I'm having the same problem logging in. I created an account, fill out the consent form, and then the survey never loaded. So there we go. So that's where we are. So you can see that things are moving along. Now, Julio put it well. He's like, we're in a horse race right now. Who's gonna get the finish line first, BBBY or Nextbridge? And honestly, I got tickets for both. I don't care. One of them sooner than later. That's all I care about. Right, monkey? 4x4 RV. That's all that matters. So what else was I talking about? Oh yeah. People are thinking merger Monday today because of the 5/1 date for that FILO credit agreement. But I saw some other documentation that looked like the credit that the due date for the maturity of the 2024 bonds for BBBY moved to May 28th. Also, some information came out from Alex Partners, basically stating, hey, the company's reorganized and it's ready to emerge with its merger acquisition. Those are the folks that Holly Etlin works for. The chief reorganization officer. And in the document, they basically say like, hey, it takes about 6 months or so for the stuff to go through. And we'll be at 7 months this month. As to, are we at 7 months right now? September 30th, October 30th, November, December, January, February, March, April. Oh yeah, we're at 7 months right now. So, TikTok, feather plucker. Yeah. So, yeah. Tomorrow's Charity Tuesday. Raising money for World Central Kitchen. I've got plenty of 50-cent wish boxes to raffle off. So if we get to our $1,000 goal, there goes one 50-cent wish box. And for every $500 we raise after that, another name will be drawn for a 50-cent wish box. And you guys can receive whatever magic I got off the internet during COVID 4 years ago. So, right? So tomorrow afternoon, about 2 p.m. Pacific, we'll be doing our show for Charity Tuesday. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. Hungry Caveman is first. Zuma got to do with Nub said meh. Case Chapman, thirdsies. Jennifer Lomas, lots of stickers. Michael Steegs, Houston. Do you know why Tesla went up so much? Not a clue. Probably because I'm still holding on to those September calls. And they just want to make sure that I never benefit from them whatsoever. Dog shit earnings. Elon lost the Supreme Court on his appeal for the SEC, basically being like, you can't tweet about Tesla without us approving it. He's like, that restrains my speech. And the court's like, yeah, but as the head of a company, your speech is already restrained. So there's that. I don't know, Cybertruck's falling apart like crazy. I have no idea why whatsoever. It's gone up like 30% since last week. Just bonkers. There's Seek a Star saying, Houston, check your text. Share count MMTLP. Got it. Michael Steegs. Also, there's news about GMG, about 2,500 shares this morning at 42.5. I'm not complaining. Yeah, they released, someone sent me the link yesterday, a little video with like the Graphene Manufacturing Society or something like that. So like a industry group talking about the two products they have to market, which is a highly reflective paint, insulating paint, an additive for fuel oil that increases efficiency of oil a lot, or engine oil, and then their batteries, which are now basically they got the small cells done. They're trying to make bigger cells and then extrapolate that to manufacturing. And they basically said, hey, we're on our way. These things are efficient. Aluminum's cheap. We don't have to worry about heating and cooling systems. The power it packs is insane. Blah 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 blah. So it's like an hour-long video. It's pretty boring. I skipped a lot to get to the parts I cared about. Yeah, so like everything else, twiddle them thumbs. J-Dog, first like. Well, there you go. There's a first. And Rollingbay 6, hi Houston. Happy almost birthday month. There's the monkey butt. Every day's my birthday, right, monkey? Yeah. Kelly Reed, 43% of small businesses were unable to pay their rent in full in April due to the economic headwinds. It's the highest rent delinquency since March 2021, when we were still in the throes of COVID pandemic. And that's right about times people started getting vaccines and re-entering the world. So that's not good. Most retail spaces are rented by small businesses, and closing in on half of those are now in delinquency on their rent, which means the owners of those properties, who probably have 5-year commercial bonds on them, will not be able to pay their interest, let alone the principal on their bonds. And since the property values are plummeting like crazy, they're not going to re-up their commercial loans. They're just going to walk away from their properties. It's not good. I mean, those who have got cash on hand and can swoop in and like buy up these properties for pennies on the dollar, those are going to be the winners. Everyone else is going to lose like crazy. Yeah. So, Kelly Reese also says happy birthday. Is it factory? With haircut tomorrow, are they really holding on to crypto to the last minute? I mean, it was dropping like 6% last night. I haven't not really checked crypto market. Let's see where it's CoinDesk. Let's show me what's happening with CoinDesk here. Come on. US dollar coin stable. Ethereum went up. Bitcoin's down a little bit today after going down like 4% yesterday. It's at 63,000. There's a few of them, like Tron's up. Some shit coins never heard of, but for the most part, usually crypto kind of all has the same graph over and over and over, and it kind of follows Bitcoin's. And they're all mirroring Bitcoin at this point. You could just like overlay them on each other. Some of them have a little bit more positive beta. So like Dogecoin follows Bitcoin's graph, but it's down 5% as a result. I thought the dumping was happening last night. I checked it out just after midnight. Everything was down like 4 to 6%. I was like, oh, here we go. But during the day, kind of, meh a little bit. Yeah. Looks like they're holding on to it, apparently. I wonder what tokenized securities are doing at the moment. Oh, I missed a couple of super chats. Spartan. Bonjour, Houston. My wife thinks I'm crazy. I'm addicted to GME. I've accumulated XXXXXXX. What do you think? When we get our BBY money, it will go to GME. Yes. That's what I plan on doing. If I get cash from BBBY, from some sort of settlement or whatever in this merger acquisition thing, I'll be taking a chunk of it, buying thousands of calls, and taking the other chunk and making purchases and $1,000 share blocks through lit exchanges. And that's what I think probably everyone's going to do. And there's going to be bajillions of dollars being thrown into GME when it's all said and done. And that's going to go pew as a result. Or at least, so I theorize. Yes, Spartan. Just made me Japan. Yeah, Japan currency was shit in the bed. All of a sudden, strengthened like 5% in one moment last night. Japan is what's the GPY to US dollar? Yeah, so it was super duper weak, strengthened a little bit. Now it's getting super duper weak again. I have no idea what play happened last night, or I guess it was Monday morning in Japan. But this is what we got. Shabam. Whoop. Now it's going back up again. Yeah. Interesting. We can do USD to JPY. Get the graph going the opposite direction. There we go. So, lots of Japanese yen to the US dollar is what's happening. Peaked about 160, I think, before it crashed. Yeah. So, Japan's got some problems. One, they kept interest rates not just low, but negative for a long time. They've had stagflation since the 97 economic crisis. Their population is really old. It's shrinking. As a society, they're kind of collapsing. Small towns are empty. Basically, the large cities, they don't really have the population available to take care of how many elderly they have. The oldest state in the United States is Florida, and it's 12% senior citizen. The population of Japan is like 22% senior citizen. That's crazy. More than 1 in 5 people are really old in Japan. They're not working. They're on pensions. Their health are failing. They need nursing homes and care and step down units and all sorts of things that the population doesn't quite exist to be able to take care of all the elderly that way. So, yeah. Japan has about $1 trillion in U.S. security bonds, treasury bonds. The treasury bonds pay positive interest rates. So if Japan holds on to those, they can lend out money still and use that interest to pay for their bonds, but everything still stagnates. People are like, oh, maybe they'll dump U.S. treasuries to strengthen the yen against the dollar, but then they lose their income stream that they require to pay for the really low interest rates they have on their own bonds. So Yeah, I think Nomura's toast, and I think SoftBank's probably toast in the long run. And you know, a lot of big Japanese companies are kind of been throwing the towel the past few years. Mitsubishi Motors died essentially, and now just sells rebadged Nissans. Yeah, it's gonna be a rough one. That's gonna be a rough one for Japan, that's for sure. Andrew Stewart, favorite Next Generation episode, Darmok Inner Light. Favorite Next Generation episode. Probably the one where the Cardassians capture and torture Picard. Can't remember the name of that one. But basically they show like what having ideals, how it's different than being a fascist piece of shit. It's a very shows the character of all the characters and shows you what empathy means and how to stay true to who you are in the face of certain damnation. I don't know. It explores something that a lot of shows hadn't been able to, and even then it feels like it's too short. Like it should have been pulled out a little longer. I can't remember the name of that episode. It's one of the ones towards the end of the series, but I thought that one was really powerful. Whoop. Okay, J-Dog says Mariners to hang on in first place in the AL West. Yeah. I mean, they'd be probably last place if they're in the AL East. But they've taken, 5 series in a row? Their pitchers have put together the greatest 16-game string in baseball history, where every game the starting pitcher has pitched 6 innings, allowed less than 2 runs, and had 4 or more strikeouts. And that's never happened in a 16-game stretch for any team in the history of baseball. So the pitching's finally turned it on. George Kirby has the greatest strikeout to walk ratio ever recorded for a pitcher with more than 25 starts. He's a dude. He's at 7 point something strikeouts for every walk, which no one's ever done. I mean, they've done it at times, but never for like every game they've ever pitched. That's pretty impressive. So, yeah. Jason Blackball, Houston. The only time I'm sorry and I apologize don't mean the same thing is at a funeral. All right. And his friend, Aloha from Wahoo. Looking forward to another great show. Thank you. Corporate Walnut. I'm tired of twirling thumbs. Do we have any other once-in-a-lifetime make you stupid rich place? I'm sure there's lots of them out there. I don't know of all of them. Every once in a while, someone's like, did you see the stock? And you look on it, and it's like, it's up 13,000% in a day. And I didn't know anything about it beforehand. Yeah. So, Scott Pollen, might have to snag a new sweatshirt at GameStop. Keep the threads looking fresh. Ryan Head, do I have to go to work tomorrow, or is it tomorrow we ride? Oh, I would. That'd be lovely. Santa Sapien. Oh, Mike Forsh says Batman. Santa Sapien, Houston. Any news on 16B? Why is such a dumb case taking so long? No news that I know of. Not a clue. Not one clue. Why it hasn't been thrown out yet? To me, if I were a judge, I'm like, oh, this is the stipulations for why 16B can apply. Those things have not been met. Send it. That's what I would expect from them, but they take a long time to make these decisions. Chad Clifford, Houston, you're still buying GME shares for long term. Thanks, happy birthday. I am. I was hoping to have my Tesla options play work out and buy a whole bunch of them, and that didn't work out. Because Tesla, for some reason, can post the worst news in the entire world. They can be like, all of our drivers of all of our cars have died. Everyone's like, oh my God, double it. And that seems to be how Tesla rolls in the market. Scott Pollen, been hearing good reports on the GME branded hardware, like said, mouse, like SSD, mouse chargers, etc. I've seen some videos from like people who got neat light up keyboards and things. Maybe they have decent mice. Alexander K. Houston, what's the craziest tip you've ever been given while working as a server? I mean, I've gotten like $100 tips and things. I never got crazy tips the way like pretty girls get tips. Pretty girls make insane tips. Just like, I'd make my 20% on average, and then every once in a while there'd be a coworker like, hey, can you close out my checks for me? I gotta do this one thing. And I'd close them out and I'd be like, oh my God, I wish I had boobs. But I got like a couple ones, their bill was like $40. They left me a $150 tip. I've had a couple instances like that. So yeah, but I've never been given like the stuff you see in the news, like someone gave a $10,000 tip to a waitress and stuff like that. I read recently about a woman who got a $4,000 tip or something, and the boss was like, you got to share that with me or something. And she was like, no. So they fired her. And then there was a GoFundMe for her, and it raised like $1 million. So tips on top of tips, man. But yeah, trying to think. I've had the 151. I had like $50 on like a beer before, weird things like that. There's a local cajillionaire I know that regardless of what they get, they leave like $100. So, all right. I mean, they're the type of people who are probably making $100,000 a day on interest on their wealth, and they just can't spend it. So they go out and they just like leave everyone $100 no matter what they're getting. So, those folks exist, and I hope to be one of those folks one day. Scott Pollen, and the game controller Candy Con seems to be a hit. Word. BOH calls the second intro. Not happening today, bucko. Mike Forrest, does Monkey Butt actually like Batman? Yeah, they like each other. Right, Monkey? Look at you. You're next to your cat friend. Yeah, oh, yeah. There's your little cat friend right there. I think she's more like, yes, it's part of our pack, but she doesn't like cuddling in general. She hates it. If you try to snuggle this dog, she's like, don't do it. At most, she likes to like put her chin on your ankle. That's all the cuddling she wants to do. It's true, isn't it? Because you are not a cuddle bear. You're like petting a mossy rock anyway, because you're just like shredded. You're just nothing but stone cold killer. Yeah. But the chalupa loves to snuggle. He doesn't care who he's snuggling with. I think he loves Monkey more than Monkey loves him. But Monkey tolerates him and is his buddy. They are buddies. They'll play together. And right, monks? Right, you sweet little dog. It's not time yet. No, it isn't. But yeah. Say the same, Houston. Which bonds should I try to buy that are most likely to convert to shares? My guess is the later bonds. No. Later bonds, I might be able to be like, no, we'll still keep paying these things because they're not due yet. So they're not technically in default. I mean, these 2024 ones are either due on Wednesday or at the end of May. One or the other. So something's got to happen with those. They're listed as not in default. So, will they pay them or will they turn them into shares? I really wish we knew what the credit bid was doing so we could answer that. Buy them all and find out? Does that work? Frozen State Productions. Double check this weekend. Fidelity erased all my BBY buys. I'll be calling tomorrow when the flu has loosened its grip on me. Seriously, have you looked at your October statement and everything? Because that should not have happened. That's literally erasing financial records, and they should not be doing that. Frozen State Productions. Yes, tree. Oh, sorry, Josh Pephouse. Yes, trees. All right. There's a shield attacking me because I haven't proved naked shorting exists. I was trying to find Patrick Burns short selling attack symptoms. I mean, they can say that it doesn't exist, but we know it does because people who've done it have admitted to doing it. If that makes any sense. If you're looking for the anatomy of a short attack, anatomy of a short attack. It's an old, old Seeking Alpha article back when Seeking Alpha wasn't an absolute dumpster fire. This guy. No, just don't make me do shit. I just want to. All right. Yeah. Just let me read my stupid article, you buttholes. There we go. Oh my God. Okay. It's a 10-year-old article. Here we go. So anatomy of short attack. This guy here, Gerald Klein. All right. So published courtesy of Citizen Security Reform at counterfeitingstock.com, blah, blah. Views of shorting are not random acts of renegade hedge funds. So basically they go through this whole thing to talk about exactly how the hedge funds, market makers, lenders, regulators, and everyone kind of lets the whole thing happen and what loopholes there are and how they will pay bad actors to shit on a stock, to drop the price, and then they count on people selling, and then they flood the market with more to cause the price to drop even more, which means people who are going to hold for long regardless, like, and they freak out, and then they sell into the market, causing it to drop even more, and it just goes from there. And why are you staring at me like this? Why are you staring at me like this? You know it's not going to happen. Come on, it's not going to happen here. It'll happen when I say it's going to happen. Chill. Yeah, so it's a really good, really good article. It's long. It's a long one, but I highly recommend it. Is that what we're talking about? Looking for the short attack symptoms thing? But yeah, we know naked shorting happens because we've got the amount of official short interest in MMTLP, right? And then we have Nextbridge basically saying we've got proof that there's way more shorts out there than that, and that's naked. Those are naked shorts. So anytime a shill is challenging you on that stuff, just block them. Just be like, you're a shill, eat shit and die. Because all they're going to do is waste your time and let them move on to the next person who's just going to block them. And then eventually they've got no one to talk to. It's pretty simple, right? Quit staring. Get up there. Get up there. Stay. You're not even close to nuggy time. It's not. You have at least half an hour until nuggy time. Can you chill out for half an hour? Huh? Chill out. The betrayal on her face. Oh crap, there's a reset of the chat. Mike Forst. Have Congress and everyone else go after the two hedge funds, OTC, Gensler, and FINRA. We keep going down the wrong rabbit hole. I would hope Congress would go after these things. That's the one hope out of Donald Trump trying to jump onto our train here is like, naked shorting. And maybe him going, will make the Trumpers in the Financial Services Committee, actually do their job and call these people in here. That's my one hope, because shorting exists for companies like DJT. That's the whole reason why shorting should be legal. Naked shorting should not. Legally short these clowns. Don't break the law and do it. Basically. Oh, and Webull just allowed people on margin to go to level 4 options trading, which is selling naked options, naked puts and calls. So we're have naked shorting happening with retail investors until they get absolutely obliterated. So that's good stuff. That's a good time, right? Don Caesar Shadem. Hit like. Every time you hit like, another child is born in Ohio. Poor kids. Mike Forst. We're never going to get anything for playing by the rules laid out by Torch Meta Nextbridge. Things moving along, Houston. They appear to be. Looks like Nextbridge's lawyers are going after one of the blatant guys at TradeStation. TradeStation was one of those folks who told us how many shares people claim they have and how many shares they actually have available to transfer. And it did not match up. People trying to transfer their shares couldn't because their shares don't exist anymore. Or I should say their shares don't have an actual share behind them because they're naked, sitting in their account empty as IOUs. TradeStation took those shares and either lent them out or allowed shares that don't exist to get settled into their accounts. Naked. So they'll get information from TradeStation. They'll take the information, present to the SEC and be like, look, this is what's happening, you fools. And they'll take that stuff to Congress as well. So it's coming along. Just wish somebody would some hedge fund would just give up the ghost and start this thing already. Foreign State Productions, the difference between a numerator and denominator is a short line. Only a fraction of people understand this. Oh, such a terrible math joke. How's your friend? Radio Shack gonna make a comeback? Sounds like they want to. Unicom or whoever owns their trademark has made a whole new webpage highlighting, electronics and things that they're selling. Radio Shacks are active in lots of countries outside the U.S. They're just not active inside the U.S. I hope that if they do come back, they still have knickknacks, doodads, wires and gizmos so you can do like home electronics, as well as, their branded products and everything. Before the Radio Shack here died, I was a pretty regular customer because, I'd need an end piece for a Ethernet cable or whatever. Where my mom had her computer versus where the television was, this is before Wi-Fi existed, or at least was affordable. She needed a 50-foot coaxial cable to get from her computer modem to the port in the wall for her cable internet. And I went to Radio Shack thinking, I'll just buy some coaxial cable. $10 a foot. I needed 50 feet of it. So that's $500 for the coaxial cable, not counting the ends, which were like $10 each. So $520 for coaxial cable. I was like, well, that's not going to happen. And then I was like, well, I'm here. I might as well go shopping over at Rite Aid. Went to Rite Aid. There was a bound 50-foot coaxial cable for $9.99. So Radio Shack's business model was not going to survive that. If the specialty parts I need are available at the drugstore for 1/50th the price, I'm going to buy it at the drugstore and not at Radio Shack. So if Radio Shack's going to offer these things, like, what Radio Shack offered back in the day, I can get from monoprice.com or from Amazon for pennies, right? And, if I need something right now, I'll pay a little premium. Let's say I need an iron for my clothes, right? I can buy an iron off of Amazon and wait 24 to 48 hours and it costs $30. Or I can head on to Rite Aid and get it now for $37. If I need to iron a shirt now, I will go to Ace, right? So I think some of these chain stores need to realize that their competition can produce huge amounts of volume on really cheap stuff if you're willing to wait 24 hours. And if you need it now, you're going to be like, I'm not going to pay a 50x premium on this because I need it now. I will wait a day and then receive my electronics. I'm sure that 50-foot cable I got for $10 at Rite Aid is probably available online for like $5 if I wait a day. But at this point, I'm like, whatever. My time is definitely worth the $5. I'll get it now. It's not worth the $500. I'm not going to spend, days on end toiling in the mines to be able to buy a 50-foot coaxial cable at Radio Shack because the price is insane. So hopefully they've learned from that, and they're going to make it so that, you get the small premium that I can get it now, but not the insane, we're the only ones in town who sell this stuff. So you're going to pay $500 for it because you have no idea what it really costs. But yeah, so it looks like they're going to try to make Radio Shack a comeback. Ryan Bianchi, Houston, if you care to divulge, are your Nextbridge shares at AST? Yes, they are. All 1,000 of them. Don's Shadem, Tesla full self-driving got approval in China. That's going to make for some spectacular dash cam videos. Because Chinese can't drive. They have no rules and regulations. You can drive pretty much anything you want on the street. Stuff, they got these weird tiny little, what they call them, grandpa cars. They're $2,000 electric cars that have no safety standards and just right in the streets. The drivers obey laws anyway. It's going to be pretty. Is driving going to get better or worse as a result of full self-driving in China? Frozen Productions. When I was a kid, my mother told me I could be anyone I wanted to be. Turns out identity theft is a crime. Someone sent me this crazy article. It was a news piece on identity theft in Florida, that folks are using AI to generate IDs and everything, and then they go to a bank and they say, "Hey," first they check property records, make sure if there's homes that are paid off, all right. And so there's a home that's paid off, it's worth $600,000. They go to the bank and like, "Hey, I'm the owner of this home. Here's my ID. I'd like to take out a $600,000 mortgage, please." And the bank's like, "Oh, okay." And they go through the paperwork. The thief signs it. They get $600,000 and they just walk away. They might even do it at multiple banks. It might take about multiple mortgages on the same house, all on the same day, so that the computers don't rectify anything. Then they walk away, and then the poor homeowner, several weeks later, gets all these delinquency notices, "Hey, you've not paid your mortgage. Hey, you've not paid your mortgage." And the homeowner's like, "But I don't have a mortgage." Only discover that their ID's been stolen, their identity's been stolen, and that there's millions of dollars in mortgages out on their home, and all these banks are fighting over who gets it. And by then, the thief is long gone, working out somebody else's house, doing the same thing all over again. And it's happening in a lot of places in Florida. Why Florida in particular? I don't know. Maybe there's just less rules or easier to get all that information out of the state or something. But yeah, it's crazy, kind of brilliant crime that they're doing. Because by the time anyone realizes the crime's happening, it's been 2 months and no one can remember the face. No one can, the security footage has probably been erased by then. Pretty good crime. You always got to, tip of the hat to someone who's got that one figured out and has the balls to do it. I've always been impressed by that. I'm just going to go into this place, cool as a cucumber, pretend I'm this person, get $600,000 check written out to me, and then peace. It's pretty ballsy. Don Shadem, Juice Mammy, I don't trust any TSLA headlines I see. I'm sure that is nonsense. Still, the stock ripped. Yep. Stock ripping is the Houston option effect. Yes. The minute I sell my puts, that's when I'll go. The puts will not just go in the money, but they'll explode in price and value. Spartan, the entire family will send me the crazy house. Kevin Lush, Mullen just ran 80% today. What's your thoughts? Oops. Oh, come on. No, don't. Just. Not Mulan, dude. There we go. It's at $5. Did they do another reverse split on everybody? I mean, they've done so many reverse splits. This is crazy. Mullen's done so many reverse splits. If you go back to their founding in 2012, each share of that stock was worth $19 million. That's how many stock reverse splits they've done. And recombine. I mean, even in 2015, the stock was equivalent of millions of dollars. That's crazy. And then here we are, 100,000, 2017, 100,000, 80,000, 2019, 300,000, 2020. So if you owned one share of Mullen stock in 2020, it's equivalent to $267,000. That's how many times they reverse split like crazy. That is nuts. Even 2022, 55,000. 16,000 in 2022. And today, $5. So this is the model that AMC is going for. Right? You reverse split it enough. Back when you originally bought in 2021 or whatever, it would be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, because they're going to reverse split and dilute and reverse split and dilute and reverse split and dilute and reverse split and dilute, so on and so on and so on. Yeah. Why is it up today? Well, it's investor place. Any reason? Voucher news. Mullen 3 was added. California's HIVIP program allows buyers to redeem cash vouchers for up to $45,000. Buyers electric vehicles receive cash vouchers up to $45,000. Put that in perspective. MSRP on the Mullen 3 is $68,000. Okay, so you get some sort of California voucher to basically make the cars really cheap. Okay, so on top of that, you get $7,500 federal tax credit, and so big price the car down to $17,000. Of course, their cars aren't available anywhere, so yeah. All right, so that's why they got the approval, but they don't really have the manufacturing capacity to produce any cars. But you know, $45,000 to $45,000. Louis got some graphs in here. Joseph Lee, has any country ever been able to figure out the issue of poverty? If no, which country would you say is the closest? Oh yes, many countries have been able to figure out the issue of poverty. Finland cured homelessness. Why? They gave people a home and money. What? Yeah, they gave them a universal basic income and a home. And if you're on the street, you get put back in a home. Or if you keep back on the street again, you just go to a hospital and you stay there, because you're obviously mentally deranged if you're going to be living on the street in fucking Finland, where it gets to -40 for half the year. So yeah, they basically solved homelessness. Homeless people need a home. One. So you put them in a home. If they, for some reason, keep leaving that home, then you put them in a group home / asylum where they get the treatment and medication they need until, they can be released back into society if they can be. Some people need to be in a home like that for the rest of their lives because they're bibbledy. But yeah, you can go to countries in many places around the world and you just don't see homeless people because they get them treatment and they institutionalize them and they get them medication and because once you start dealing with poverty 30, 40, 50 years down the road, you don't have the generational trauma of poverty. Therefore, you don't have people suffering from CPTSD and PTSD ending up on the streets based upon their traumatic childhoods. And it cures a lot. Does it cure a lot. So, yeah. Why don't we do that in the U.S.? Because there's no way for private health insurance to make money off of that. Kerry Rowan, Mullen will crash down with an offering, lock in those gains. Bingo. I mean, again, their stock was worth $19 million at one point, based on how many times they've reverse split over the years. John Hancock. Elon has had the go-ahead to implement AI in Tesla cars in China and stock price increase. There you go. Versus Productions, I know you're a baseball guy, but what's up with this Timberwolves basketball team? They swept the Phoenix Suns last night. It's their first playoff series win since like 2004 or something, right? With Kevin Garnett. I do not pay as close attention to basketball as I did prior to 2008 when the Sonics left. I was a huge basketball fan. I went to lots of games, and the Sonics left, and I was pretty much like this to the NBA. I get it. Like if your franchise can't draw dick and it's failing miserably, yeah, you go, okay, the city doesn't appreciate basketball, we move. But you don't move national championships and amazing playoff records and everything, and you don't just take them to a smaller market like Oklahoma City. That stuff doesn't make any sense. Just made me angry. But because the Sonics will be coming back soon, I guess. Should be getting an expansion team at some point. But yeah. That's about as much attention as I pay to basketball. Sincere 206. Happy birthday, Houston. What are your thoughts on Biden's ongoing support of Netanyahu and the chance of a third-party candidate gaining real ground considering the options? Well, I don't know if Biden necessarily supports Netanyahu so much as he supports the traditional, I guess you would say, what's the term I want to use? Like the traditional standing of U.S. support for Israel in general. I think Biden actually hates Netanyahu. I think he thinks he's a complete clown and an asshole and doing things wrong. But it's hard for him to come out and say that without possibly radicalizing the right in Israel to support Netanyahu, and everyone wants to see Netanyahu go away. Today, an article came out. Basically, Netanyahu is begging the United States to pressure the ICC not to issue any arrest warrants for him. And I have the feeling the United States is not a member of the ICC. We signed it, but we never ratified it, so we're not technically a member of the ICC. So I think Biden's going to be like, hey, man, my hands are tied. Sorry. Good luck. Because once that arrest warrant gets issued, Netanyahu, there's a warrant for his arrest in any country that's ratified that treaty, which Israel ratified. So the law enforcement in Israel will be required by international treaty to arrest Netanyahu and send him to The Hague. Now, Netanyahu's argument is, why am I being targeted for this and not the leaders of Hamas who ordered the attack on October 7th? Which I think is a fair whataboutism argument. I think the ICC should also issue arrest warrants for those leaders of Hamas. Why not? I don't see any reason not to do that. But yeah, like Russia is not did not ratify the treaty, so they're not technically a member of the ICC. But there is an arrest warrant for Putin. So if Putin sets foot in a country that has ratified the ICC, they're legally required to put him in handcuffs and send him off to The Hague. Which is why you won't see Putin, ever going to a country that is a signatory of that, signatory and ratifier of that treaty ever again. He won't do it. He'll visit non-signatory countries, non-ratifier countries, and that's all you'll see him do internationally from this point forward. But yeah, as far as a third-party candidate gaining real ground considering options, no. Trump this week freaked out on RFK Jr. because RFK Jr. is taking support away from Trump and not away from Biden. It seems that Trump was under the impression like, hey, he's a Kennedy, so therefore Kennedy's a Democrat. If he's running against Biden, all Democrats can go for Kennedy. But even Kennedy's own family are like, fuck that guy. So they're not voting for him, and he's taking on the conspiracy theorist groups, like a lot of the QAnon people are moving over to Kennedy, and that was a big Trump base. So what's going to happen is if Kennedy runs the third party, he's going to split the vote with Trump and make it so that Biden can more easily win a plurality. I don't see anyone else stepping up this late in the game, being able to foster with enough money to be able to make a dent. So no, I think a third party candidate's going to accomplish anything there. BBBY, my personal DS9 episode is in pale moonlight. I've not gotten through my DS9s. Everyone's like, oh, it's the best ever. And so far, I'm like halfway through the first season. And I'm just like, I don't enjoy this. It's like, you might get to a point where I start enjoying it because all the other Star Trek people love it. But I have to soldier through and get there eventually. Emu goes fishing 84. Do you think Rudolph Diesel committed suicide or was murdered? Rudolph Diesel. Rudolph Diesel? Rudolph Diesel. Inventor, mechanical engineer, famous for having invented diesel engine, which burns diesel fuel, both named after him. I don't know enough about diesel at all. Career, disappearance, and death. Evening of September 29th, 1913, Diesel boarded the Great Eastern Railway steamer SS Dresden in Antwerp on his way to a meeting with the Consolidated Diesel Manufacturing Company in London. He took dinner on board the ship and retired to his cabin at 10 p.m., leaving word to be called in the next morning at 6:15 a.m., but was never seen alive again. In the morning, his cabin was empty and his bed had not been slept in, although his nightshirt was neatly laid out and his watch had been left where it could be seen from the bed. His hat and neatly folded overcoat were discovered beneath the afterdeck railing. Shortly after Diesel's disappearance, his wife Martha opened a bag that her husband had given her just before his ill-fated voyage with directions that it should not be opened until the following week. She discovered 20,000 German marks in cash, about $120,000 today, and financial statements indicating that their bank accounts were virtually empty. In a diary Diesel brought with him on the ship, the date 20th September 1913, a cross was drawn, possibly indicating death. 10 days after he was last seen, the crew of the Dutch pilot boat Kortsen came upon a corpse of a man floating in the eastern sheet. The body was in such advanced state of decomposition it was unrecognizable, and they did not retain it aboard because of heavy weather. Instead, the crew retrieved personal items, pill case, wallet ID, pocket knife, eyeglass, etc., from the clothing of the dead man and returned the body to the sea. On October 13th, those items were identified by Rudolph's son, Eugene Diesel, as belonging to his father. So I went overboard, obviously. Was it suicide? I don't know. I'm going to have to read more on this because I never knew that story. There you go. Then I'm off. Tesla up 25% on bad earnings calls and high CEO. Yep. Walt the Man in the Middle. If Conseco interview, he claims Griffey Jr. was helped by his Superdome dimensions, Kingdom dimensions, and he played there, he would have been Home Run King. We can probably look at Ken Griffey Jr. home and away stats. I mean, the Kingdom had a pretty decent right field porch for left-handers, but let's see what stat muse here. Okay, so home runs 332 at home, 298 away. That's a little bit of home favoritism there. Batting average is a little bit better, 296, 272. Day and night, pretty equal. Let's see Jose Canseco. Jose Canseco. Come on, man. Jose Canseco. Gosh dang it. Jose Canseco's home. Home away stats. There we go. Fangraphs. What Fangraphs got for me? Come on. You can load it up. Show me those home aways for Canseco. Come on. Oh my gosh, give me the stat one. This is impossible. Fangraphs Baseball Almanac. Wikipedia. Stat Muse. There we go. Okay, so where's his splits? Why don't you have the splits here? See all. Yes. Postseason. Don't you have home and away splits like you did for Griffey? What the hell? Oh my gosh. Splits. There we go. Internet taking forever. Okay. Jose Canseco did worse at home than he did away, but he batted the same. So sounds like he's just jealous that his home stadiums at either Boston, New York, etc. were all worse than when other stadiums on the road. But then again, Griffey never worked out and he never went to the gym. He never took steroids. And Canseco took a lot of steroids, so he would never have any of these home run numbers if it wasn't for the needles he put in his butt. So, well, you know, needles in the butt make the world go around, I guess. Yeah, so it's possible. And Griffey loved the home crowd. They cheered for him like crazy. Canseco didn't get a lot of that cheering later on in his career when it was revealed that he stuck needles in his butt. So he doesn't really get the love that other people got. He was a great ball player for a guy that stuck a needle in his butt. I do wonder what his numbers would be if he didn't. Would he ever made to the major leagues? I don't know. But he was the biggest thing in baseball in the late 80s, early 90s. There was no one bigger than Jose Canseco at that time. And he squandered that goodwill by putting a needle in his butt. Oh crap. Where did I lost my spot? Oh, you know what time it is? It's finally time. Come on. Yes. Okay. You sure? I got 2 of these left. Or I guess 1 after this. And then we might be all out. Oh, man, the stink on these things is so powerful. All right, come get your little toothbrush. Come get it. Right here. Right there. Right here. There you go. Oh, yeah. Nom, 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 nom. All right, Nuggie Stare off. Okay, we went past that one. We went past that one. We went past that. We did... There's the Rudolph one. Tesla one. Braves versus Mariners. Good luck game. Starts today. Starts too late for me to see the whole thing. Yeah. Mariners playing the Braves. I wonder if Jared Kellenick's going to get cheered or not. He's hitting pretty well still. Hasn't hit any home runs yet, though. Maybe saving it for against the Mariners. Okay, Kellenick. Where are we right now for Kellenick? He's batting .305. On baseball slugging is still mediocre. Still not any home runs. That's the crazy thing. So, of the last 5 games, he has 3 hits. Well, if I were the Braves, I'd start him just to see what happens, personally. But Mariners have the pitching. Braves have the hitting. See where it goes. Sincere. Houston, do you think RC is quietly leading investors on, letting them think there's going to be a merger acquisition? Hell no. His entire basis, like the entire thesis for why he's investing and what he's investing is to build a groundswell of retail investors behind him so he can create another Berkshire Hathaway. If he fucks over all of those investors, he loses them forever. They will never trust him. He'll be an enemy and a pariah to all of us forever. And his strategy cannot Cannot have that happen. So, no, I don't think he's leading them on. He could come out and say there is no merger acquisition. Give it up. He could legally say that, but he hasn't. Right? If he had no part of Bed Bath & Beyond's dip facility or anything else people have been saying, he could say, look, I have nothing to do with that. But he hasn't. Why? Well, why not? Right? The only reason you wouldn't come out and say, look, I have nothing to do with this is because you've got something to do with it, but you can't talk about it because you have something to do with it. D, happy birthday, Houston. As a heads up, the MMTLP community on X are beyond toxic. Looks like mega QAnon types will lead them to ruin. Berta GP style. I'm writing this off as a BS loss now. I think that the MAGA types in general kind of poison the well everywhere they go. Having guys like James O'Keefe come in and like fight for you is it's toxic. It's an absolute like litmus test failure. You don't want to bring in people who are essentially fraudsters to come to bat for you because they've got a large platform that tells everyone else who's not involved, like, oh, these guys are kooks. I'm never going to listen to them. And you want to get legit news people on board, not wackadoodle conspiracy people. And I think a lot of folks don't know the difference between those two things because all their news from the wackadoodle conspiracy people. And I don't know the solution to that other than just going, yeah. I see Jordan is in here being a happy, good person. Dan Johnson's here. B of H. Oh, good. Another guy who likes Monoprice for cheap cables. It's a great place for cheap cables. It is. It is fantastic. I've been using them since college. I've got drawers full of cables I don't need just because they're on sale at Monoprice. Because maybe I will need them someday. I don't know. I mean, drawers full of them. Get back in your hole. There we go. So, I may need that USB-A cable, that USB-B cable, USB-C cable, the C to C, the male to female, the female to male. I've got it all down there. And at some point, they get used. And the minute I throw them away, that's when I'm definitely going to need it. But yeah, Monoprice is great for that stuff. And BFH, you're an Ace Hardware fan? Awesome. Hell yeah, I'm an Ace Hardware fan. I love Ace. Ace is the place. Our local Ace is pretty awesome. They give lots of treats to Monkey Butt. She loves going to Ace. It's a great place. If you need sulfuric acid to do deplating of gold, go get the sulfuric acid drain cleaner from Ace. It's cheap. It works just as good as lab grade sulfuric acid. Then you can deplate that stuff all day long. It's great. BOH, all I need for you is like AutoZone 2. I don't have any AutoZones near me. I don't think anyway. Let's see here. AutoZone Kitsap County. Do we have any? Looks like the closest AutoZone to me is East Bremerton. That's a long ass drive away from me. It's like a 50-minute drive. So I've never actually been to an AutoZone as a result. So we've got an O'Reilly's and a Napa near me. I think those are the two that I got close to me. BFH AutoZone has saved me so much money when it comes to random light bulbs, windshield wipers for my car. DR says Monoprice is junk. Sears and AutoZone are solid. Cleaning up Scotty, excited for Cat tomorrow. I'm excited for Cat. I'm excited for the haircut. I'm excited for the possibility of the 2024 bonds coming due on Wednesday, and then maybe things happening tomorrow as a result. And Charity Tuesday. I'm excited for Charity Tuesday. So all that's happening with our Charity Tuesday and fantasticness. Juice Miami, Florida, because of our public records. Which is interesting because you and I went to the city of Miami trying to get public records, and they gave us the runaround for so long. So, good luck doing it in Miami, I guess. Dario for the win. Mullen up now 100% today. 7:23 after hours. Dang. Mike fortunately Mullen to get back to 16K to break even on one share. Yes, that's how many reverse splits they've done. It's absolutely bonkers. William is out in parole. Forza Productions. It would be really neat if shorts had to actually borrow the stock before dumping on the market. Any chance this could happen in reality? I think when all of this, when the shit's the fan and MOAS actually happens, that Congress will rewrite Reg Show and make that happen. Because at that point, there won't be anyone left to say no. Because Citadel will blown up, GTS will blown up, Concord Genuity will blown up, Virtue will blown up. All those guys will just evaporated out of existence, and they won't have the money or the personnel to go to Congress and lobby them and be like, don't do this. Please don't do this, because they're gone. And it'll be their own doing that did it. Excited box, Mullen Class 3 costs $68,000. With a discount, that puts them at $23,000. They'll be taking orders like crazy. When have any Mullen Class 3s been delivered? Mullen Class 1 EV. Mullen Automotive begins Class 3 deliveries. Oh, I guess they've been deliveries. Really hard out there. All right. Company delivers the first 10 3 EV cab chassis trucks to Randy Marin Automotive Group. They're part of 1,000 Class 3 vehicle purchase order over value of $63 million, originally placed in May of 2023. So these things, I can't see what I'm doing. Come on. So I take it these cab overs right here. PA certification, get the tax credits. So the trucks. So this is not like something you're going to drive around town, but it'll be for short haul truck drivers, I guess. Guys doing in-town things. Day truck guys. Interesting. So you can get this cab chassis truck for $17,000 basically after all the tax credits, which that will spur some business, assuming that they can, deliver them in the numbers that it will work. It might work out in the end for you. But if you're original Mullen holder, it's not gonna help you. Kevin Rannon, we have Howard Schultz of Starbucks to thank for no Sonics too, so fuck Starbucks. Yeah. Howard Schultz bought Sonics, did almost nothing with them. And then when the Oklahoma oil guys came along, like, we want to buy the Sonics. And he's like, you guys pinky swear you're not going to move to Oklahoma? And they're like, totally. And then they moved to Oklahoma. To this day, Durant is pissed. So he still wears like Seattle stuff, still talks about how he wants to like come back and play in Seattle if they get an expansion team or coach or whatever. I think he really liked living here for the couple of years that he did, and I think he really hated living in Oklahoma. No offense to anybody in Oklahoma, but it is better here than in Oklahoma by far. We have mountains and water and art museums and no race riots, things like that. Excited box. Sonics used to advertise on TV all day long, and there was none in our state. Jizz Miami, Jose Canseco. Ha 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 ha. Just Stewart's going ice bath. Richard K. Not trusting Kennedys or Bushes at this point. I do trust a guy who can make us energy independent and reduce government regulations. Well, you don't necessarily want to reduce government regulations, because when we reduce government regulations is usually when people then exploit everybody and destroy their own business. So you deregulate the California energy market, you get an Enron, right? You deregulate the stock market, you get a Citadel. You want those regulations in there, and yeah, it may cost a little bit more to do business, but you're less likely to like destroy an entire industry as a result. And I get it. Like, there are some regulations I think fees and stuff are associated with that are a bit unnecessary. I think as long as you pay the planning department, a set fee, and your builder and your architect follow the rules, so that when the inspector comes, they go, yeah, done, cool. I don't think you need to be able to. You should have to pay like a huge percentage of the building costs for constructing a home or whatever, in just fees, inspections, and regulations. That just slows things down and wastes everyone's time and energy. But just having someone make sure that those regulations are being followed, that saves lives. And those things I think are good. But yeah, energy independent. We will get energy independent when we win the moon race, and that's the only time it's gonna happen. Jews Miami, that Cuban asshole cannot come home. We laugh in face. True story. He had his street named after him, and then it was removed. I enjoy. He was somewhere in the Bay Area, and he got caught doing 106 in a school zone, and like arrested during the season or something. It was pretty crazy. I was like, 106 in a school zone? Like, you're asking for it there, knucklehead. Martin Weiss, did you hear about the fire at the shoe factory? Unfortunately, many souls were lost. Germans with the puns, man. How much better is a corked bat? I've never used a corked bat. I don't think you get the rebound on the bat as you do with a solid bat, but your bat speed's a lot quicker because it's X% lighter in the barrel. I'd be interested to see. Did Mythbusters ever do a cork bat? Season 5 episode, Baseball Myths. Fast swing for cork bat results in more distance than a slower swing from a standard bat. I guess they did. Come on. Sunday night thoughts on the cork bat myth. I said the myth way the cork bat was Springer, thus measuring the ball speed after the bat made contact. Very neat contraption. Cork bat had a lower ball speed after contact. Cork bat and regular bat were swung at the same speed. Said everyone that has been suspended while using cork bat did it for no reason. For the record, they did mention this, but the reason cork bat is used isn't for springiness, so it can swing the bat faster. It is so they can swing the bat faster. The faster you swing the bat, easier is to hit a fastball, hit inside pitches, etc. More than likely, that too difficult to test. Maybe the results would be the same. I have no idea. I guess you would have to do the test with the same amount of force applied to the bat, or get 10 hitters and have them swing randomly the cork bat, the wood bat, and see what they get off of a pitching machine pitching a standard pitch over and over again. Yeah. Oh, and Martin Weiss got us some 3 words. Carpentry mimic boost. Okay. What 3 words? Carpentry mimic boost. Where are we going? Peak Walk by Toussaint. Mateo Suisse Glacier. Are we in Switzerland? We're at, where are we? Where are we? Glacier du Sexe Rouge. Wait, did I go past here on the train? By Tis. No, this is French side. This is the French side, and go past here. So, one side Switzerland, one side France. So, Weldhorn, Les Diablets. So, we got the Red Sex. Cesse Rouge. That's a hell of a cliff right there. Dang, son. Okay. So, wait, where was my spot? I already forgot. Oh, here. So, we are right in here. Looks like we got a photograph. Can we? No, I want to know. Give me. What am I looking at, man? What am I looking at? Big cliff. It's an alpine resort under construction. It's glaciers. I don't know what I'm looking at all. It's really crazy valley down below, though. That is bonkers. That is one hell of a cliff. It's like what are you? Titron? I want to know the elevation difference between this and that. Tell me. Do I have to go into Google Earth to figure that out? So I am just below Lac Le Mans. We're going to go this style. We're going to figure it out. Come on, zoom out. We're leaving Mexico. Been in Mexico for days. I'm getting the hell out of here. Come on, keep zooming out. We're going to Switzerland. Go north. Going to Switzerland. That looks like, is that Lac Le Mans? Lac Le Mans. There's the valley. And, which one was it? Crap. What 3 words? We're in that cliff. Okay. We're up here. So, Le Di blah 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 is at 10,000 feet. The valley below is at 4,000. That's a 6,000 foot cliff right there. Holy crap. All right, Peak Wallet to Toussaint. That was the little hike. And there's pictures, photos. Boink. That is the Alpine Coaster. That is the photograph. You can't see it at all, but that is a hell of a bridge. Can I make that big? Can I open address? That's what we'll do. We'll go there. We'll go like that. And we'll paste that. We'll go like that. Can you guys even see this? If I turn off Google Earth? There's a bridge between these 2 peaks, 10,000 feet above the ground. And that is what you're taking me to. That's pretty crazy. That picture is so tiny. But, oh, that would give you a little knees, a little quake, wouldn't it? Goodness gracious. Okay. And Martin Weiss, did you read about the spiders that were spotted on Mars by the European Space Agency? No. Spiders on Mars? Mars spiders, European Space Agency. Excuse me. Signs of spiders from Mars. No signs of leaky stardust. Rather than being actual spiders, these small dark features form when spring sunshine falls on layers of carbon dioxide deposited on during dark winter months. Sunlight causes carbon dioxide ice at the bottom layer to turn to gas, which subsequently builds up and breaks through slabs of overlying ice. Ah, these guys. So these are the spiders that they're talking about. I mean, that looks creepy. Those look like spiders, doesn't it? The little gas geysers. Neat. Monagit. And we have shown we are strong-willed and devout investors. That's true. Martin Weiss. What would happen if Putin, Musk, Adam Aaron, your ex-stalker, and Trump ended up on an island? Who'd get eaten first? My stalker would eat everybody because he's a big fat fatty. Done. Scissor4. How do 100-year bonds work? I keep hearing that this is a possible solution to most payout. What keeps the government from just canceling through laws these bonds, labeling holders as new oppressive rich, etc.? I mean, they're all theoretical. Basically, it's like any other bond. You pay the interest rate every year on that amount until you get to 100 years when the principal is due. So you're going to be paying anywhere from 1 to 8% on that bond every year for 100 years, and then you're going to owe the principal. And the idea is that as inflation takes off, more money is needed to do things. And by the time you get 100 years from now, the $100 billion bond, the $1 trillion bond, or whatever it is pittance compared to everything else. Or the world's ended by then, so who gives a shit, right? It'd be like, have you guys watched Fallout yet? Or Last of Us? Maybe you got some finance bro who's like, look, I know the entire globe has failed into the zombie apocalypse, the nuclear winter, whatever, but I have this piece of paper that says that government right there owes me $100 billion on this bond. No one's paying. So that's probably the hope. Right, monkey? Right? You want to come say hi? You want to come say hi. Come say hi, because you're a sweet dog. Yes, you are. Okay. Martin Weiss, timeline is getting crazier. By the nanosecond, Tesla has sold about 5 million cars so far. Elon Boy demands $56 billion as a bonus. That's $10,000 for every car. How is that even remotely sane? It's not. The company itself, its value probably should be around $56 billion. It is completely overvalued for how much they sell. It's like Nvidia. It's completely disconnected from reality. I mean, Toyota sells like 50 times more cars and it's valued less. So people are like, oh, Tesla isn't a car company. Yes, it is. It's a car company who makes a couple other things that aren't cars, and that's about it. GM is a car company that also is one of the largest auto lenders in the country. So, but they're a car company. Just believe what's going on with RC's pump and dump case? We don't know. Not a clue. Jean Vasquez, CMG is bound to crash soon. Many corporations holding stock. What kind of option would be for the best bet on the downside, not financial advice? Talking about commercial mortgages? Banks. Puts on banks are what will do it. Pacheco, Ron. Houston. Can one melt steel with sunlight using an appropriately sized magnifying glass? Yes. One can do it with an appropriate sized mirror as well. I'm sure you buy with neighbors, or maybe you have one yourself, or you can go to Goodwill and get one. If you get one of those old, like DirecTV dishes, right? Get an old DirecTV dish, get a whole bunch of mirror tiles, like a giant disco ball, and you glue those suckers to the dish. And where the receiver is for the antenna, you take that thing off and you put your hand in there, you will burn the shit out of yourself. You will melt anything you want. You will be able to sublimate carbon into the atmosphere. What you should not do is leave that thing uncovered anywhere light can get in, because it will cause all sorts of fires to happen if you do build one of those. You can get a big giant Fresnel lens and kind of do similar things with those. Again, do not leave them anywhere sunlight can hit them. I've heard stories about lighthouse keepers not covering up their giant Fresnel lenses during the day. Sunlight hits it and then lights a house on fire on the coast. You've got the walkie-talkie in London. It's a big giant building with this big parabolic curve, and it melts cars 15 miles away when the sunlight hits it just right. Yeah, you can definitely do that. There was a plate structure company here in Washington that was really big for a long time, and they built play structures all over the world, and they had this like spherical mirror. The kids could like put their face in it, look all goofy. But the problem was the sunlight hit it, and kids would walk past it. It created a focal point that was like 2,000 degrees and would just light children on fire. So yeah, mirrors can do a lot. I mean, the whole reason you don't take a big mirror like Keck and point it at the moon is that there'd be so much light focused onto the focal point that it just melts everything. So yeah, that's kind of a bummer. Cheers, Bambi Houston. I hear you're really fond of those Cyber trucks. Huge fan. All right, it's 4:30. I got to get going. Charity Tuesday tomorrow. I'm going to set the show up quick, get it all set up for tomorrow, and I'll see you guys then. We'll raise a bunch of money for World Central Kitchen. Hopefully got some weird end-of-the-month news coming out for us, and we'll rock and roll. Okay, later, skaters.